We're going to start with a question from Templar on High. He's got a 401k question. He says, what defines 401k critical mass when we can back off safely? I'm 37 with 2.2 times my household income in the tank. What does the age to mass curve look like?
Yeah, so this is an interesting question. Templar, it's less about your age. And I'm going to say it's even less about like your savings rate and that kind of, because you've probably heard Brian say before, he and his wife, the way that he got her motivated to save early on was he said, hey, sweetheart, if we can just go pedal to the metal right now in our 20s and 30s, when we get to our 40s, we can back off a little bit, right? And so you're probably saying, okay, well, how do I know if I've done that? We recognize a lot of people have that question. It's one of the reasons why we came up with a Know Your Number course, because I'm going to argue it's not age-based, and it's not like even savings rate based, it's number based. Just like most things in life, we have to begin with the end in mind. If we do not know the destination, how can we know if we are on the right path? And so with our Know Your Number course, what we aim to do is help you define the destination, right? So we want to define the destination with how much do I need? Okay, if I'm 37 years old and I have 2.2 times my income saved up, and I know that I want to retire at 59, what's that number at 59? Okay, now that I know my number, how much do I need to save between right now at 37 and 59 to hit that number? Okay, maybe it's 18%. I've been saving 25%. Then yeah, I can back off. I can take my foot off the pedal if I want to. Or maybe you say, man, I've been saving 18%, but I'm not quite going to get there by 59. I want to start saving 20%, 25%. Knowing your number will be the thing that dictates whether you can or not. If you want to know more about the course, you're going to learn.moneyguide.com. Check out that course. I think it's a great resource to figure out that answer.
And I'm just going to kind of echo some of the things you shared, because here's what I want to give the example to Templar is somebody who's in their mid-40s and they're making a great income, but they know that they live this, they actually crave the order that minimalists enjoy. You know, whether it's the small house, whether it's the very simplified lifestyle and just not a lot of money going out the door. Compare that to somebody who's part of the Fat Fire movement, where they think they're going to live kind of at the same lifestyle that they are, even while they're working, maybe even beyond, because they're going to be traveling, they're going to be exploring hobbies that are not cheap. Those two people, even though they could come from the exact same income, be the exact same age, their spending and what they seek out of life and financial independence are completely different and will have completely different numbers. So that's why, just like you are unique, you've got to go figure out what those variables mean for the actual solution or the answer of what you're building for. And I always get nervous when people just want to put a percentage without knowing the why. I love that you're watching content like this, because it allows you to actually say, what do I desire? What's the why on that? Now, the Know Your Number course is the exclamation point that actually lets you, instead of just daydreaming about it, you'll actually know what that number is, or what the additional monthly savings will do, or if you change inflation, if you change, there's all kind of rates of returns, there's all kind of variables we've tried to build into this tool so that you can actually work with it, scenario test it. You can run, just like I talk about putting on your 3D glasses where you're going to have your dream plan. This is like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so rich. The plan, the down to earth, and actually what you think it is. And then of course the doo-doo plan where things go horrible. You can run every one of those scenarios in the Know Your Number course. And that's another reason we don't do this just to try to sell courses. I actually think it's going to be a tool that you'll say, man, I'm glad that those guys shared me this, because it is something that's valuable in the planning process, trying to figure out where am I on the curve of my financial planning life.
Now, I want to give one caveat for young people. And by the way, at 37, Templar, you're still young. I'm going to go and throw that out there. One of the things I see people do, and especially, people in your 30s, you're getting there. People in your 20s, you say, hey, I got a 65% savings rate. I projected out how much I'm going to have at retirement. Whew, I can back down. No, you got to actually just because a spreadsheet or a calculator says this might be my outcome. If you have a lot of undefined variables, like where am I going to live? What's my job going to look like? What's my family going to look like? What are my expenses going to be? It's hard to get really granular to know that. So I do think there is something magical, as much as I hate to admit Brian being so right about this. At like 40, 45 years old, you're starting to understand really what financial independence and retirement is going to likely look like. I think for someone in their late 20s, early 30s, even mid-30s Templar, I think maybe it's difficult because there's still so much life that's going to happen between now and retirement.
Well, I think a lot of people think our content and people who work in our position, it's all about scarcity and
That's
actually
right.
cutting back and living without. I actually think our tools can also help create abundance in the fact that I've had people reach out where they're like, my family's like, why are we doing these trips so cheap?
Mm-hmm.
Why are we still buying the toilet paper that causes
one-ply.
troubles and all these other
one-ply
things?
toilet paper.
No, this is. I want you to live in abundance, and I want you to live your best version. So why not have some tools that actually let you know exactly where you are, so you can make those analytical decisions and live your best life?